Okay, so we have one question coming.
So I guess you can see my screen now.
Okay, so
do you want me to read it for you, or?
I can read it if that's easier. Okay, so the question we have is, in Part C of the technical toolkit, you talked about user behavior. Does that include any energy management, like a software that helps users manage their energies? Okay, that's an interesting question. That's not something we looked at in great detail. The user behavior, we were in the document, we were mainly looking at how the user could reduce energy consumption through efficient use of lighting, heating controls, and appliances. Now, obviously, there is quite a lot of work being done on energy management, but that isn't something we looked at particularly in this project. And I'm afraid I don't think I have the qualifications to be able to answer that question, unfortunately. However, I think that is a really relevant point for particularly larger buildings where there are a lot of residents.
Okay, so we have another question that just arrived. What is included in the engagement toolkit?
The engagement toolkit, okay. So as I said, this is a PDF document that's available for each different country. And I think, as I also said, it's a sort of step-by-step from initiation of the working with that building to evaluation. So it goes through the major steps. What the guide tries to do is sort of summarise the most important steps of the planning and decision process and provide best practice as to how to go about this. So it outlines, which stakeholders to involve in the process, what difficulties you might encounter through that process, some suggestions for how you can go about engaging residents and encouraging them, what might motivate them to get involved in the project. Quite a lot in the document, so I'm trying to remember what else is in there. As I said, also there are country-specific links to further information, and also best practice examples. So not just from the LEAF project, but other projects out there that have been really successful. I should also mention there is an EU version of the engagement toolkit that obviously doesn't have the country-specific information, but tries to give a general framework as to how you could go about these projects and things that you should consider.
Okay, and I think we have another question. So the ability to combine EPCs from individual apartments to a single one for the building is an interesting idea. How has it been received? Do you have a case study where this was done before works and after works? Okay,
so as I said, this part of the project was carried out just for the UK and for France. So I can speak on behalf of the UK. We certainly found it was a really interesting thing to do, partly because we tend to look at buildings on the individual apartment level rather than taking a whole block approach. So actually it was just giving it a different angle to do this sort of retrofit from. The feedback we got from both stakeholders in France and in the UK was actually extremely positive. Because this isn't something that had been done before, and the stakeholder feedback basically chimed with what I've just said there, that it was a really interesting way of looking at this as a whole block approach. What I would say is this is an Excel tool that combines multiple EPCs. It doesn't carry out any further calculations, so it just sort of summarizes all the findings from the different individual apartments and pulls it all together into one document. There's no other calculations behind that. So yes, we did trial the EPC tool out on the UK example where works were carried out, and that does show the differences. However, we would like this tool to be integrated into sort of official EPC software. At the moment, it's not an official EPC that is the result of this tool.
Okay, thanks. So now we have a lot more questions. So the next question to you, Tessa, is how does the toolkit help with the collective decision-making process associated with apartment building retrofits?
Okay, so I don't know if that is in reference to the engagement toolkit or the technical toolkit, or maybe both. Well, obviously, as I was just saying, the communal EPC toolkit certainly helps with collective decision-making, because the idea is to give one EPC that the builders can, that the owners can use to make a decision about the whole building. But the engagement toolkit is all about the collective decision-making. So if I was an owner in a block and I didn't know what to do, I could pick up that engagement toolkit and look at how I should go around the decision-making in my block. So that's there to provide that guidance. And the technical toolkit, again, that's all about trying to input information that was required for the decision-making process. So again, the part B of the technical toolkit, which allows the user to explore different packages of measures and what might be feasible, all that information is really essential for when the owners come to make that decision about what to do in their block. This is a way of them being able to explore and scope out ideas for what they could do in their building. I'm actually going to move on to the next presentation because I just realised that we're a little bit running behind, but hopefully we can take those questions to the final question-answer session that we have